Hello, I am Quinny. Welcome to the channel. In this video today, guys, we're going to be talking about if I started playing Sorare today. Who are the players I'd be targeting? What are the divisions I'd be aiming for? What are the little shortcuts? What are the sneaky hints and tips if you were starting today or if you've started recently enough that can help you get an edge on the competition or maybe accelerate your progression through the game with some success a little bit quicker than what it's coming to you at so far. If you've been on Sorare for a while, there'll be some great players and some great ideas in here that might help further your own strategy. If you're brand new and you haven't joined Sorare yet, there's a link in the description in this video. By clicking on that link, you're going to get yourself a free card. You can keep it, you can sell it, you can do whatever you want with it. By hitting that link, you go directly supporting all the content here at Quinny 3001 and Sorare TV. This video is really talking about players and in-game strategy for everything that's kind of time sensitive, everything that's kind of happening in the now. If you're after the content that helps you open your account and get to grips with the basics, that will also be linked in the description down below. The playlist is called New to Sorare. Start here. At any point in the video today, if you laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Now, no matter what level of the game you're thinking about playing, if you're going to go to the high stakes, the big tables, the big whale gatherings, and play with the blue and the black cards, the super rares and the uniques, to be honest with you, I don't think there's been a better entry point for these cards in terms of the price you can find them at on the market, as well as the amount of utility that they've got in the SO5 arena at the moment with specialist unique, underdog unique, specialists for super rares and all this other stuff. Regional tournaments are also coming out for these scarcities. So they are more expensive, but if you've got the wallet to play at the high stakes tables, it's actually probably never been more appealing in terms of the entry point, the cost of entry to go and do so. As for rares and limiteds, which are really, you know, the red and the yellow ones, the lifeblood of the platform, so many of them go through different peaks and troughs in terms of their seasonality. You know, are they playing at the moment? Are they in form? All that kind of stuff. But with the competitions we've got that bear the most reward in terms of if you're really going to play fantasy football, and this is my real take home from this video, if you really want to play fantasy football, this is the #1 site to be doing it on. The main competitions where those muscles can be flexed and that itch can be scratched is things like underdog and specialist competitions, because these ones carry really distinct criteria that block players from putting in all the big hitters with all the easy fixtures. You know, it encourages you, or it forces you to pick up a couple of guys that are actually out of form and not performing too well at the moment. That encourages you to try and find those guys with a decent fixture. Maybe you have them in your club already. Maybe you're really eagle-eyed and quick off the mark, and you can go and get them off the market before everyone else maybe clocks onto it for the game week. That guy is one of the better underdog type of guys to have, where their average score out of 100 is 40 or below across the last 15 games. And again, equally, if you're one of these guys or girls that's a real buff on a division like Bundesliga and La Liga, the big competitions in Europe, the wee competitions in Europe, or maybe it's the stuff over in South and North America or Asia, all the regional tournaments now are getting so much more variety in them with having these specialist and underdog iterations, that if you really know your fixture and you know your club, you know, maybe like me, for example, I, for better or worse, have been watching far too much Getafe and Celta Vigo over the last year. I've got a really good idea of when they're playing good matches. I've got a really good idea of when these guys are actually going to be in a good fixture and can capitalize upon it, and have done so over the last year or two. So if you are like interested in the bigger leagues, if you can be clever and you really know your stuff, then you don't need to have the Bayerns and the Real Madrids of this world to go on and compete in these divisions. For the last couple of episodes, I said almost the same thing. Okay, if I was starting today, I would be targeting specialist limited. The reason for that is all the criteria I've just explained to you, but on top of that, with entering limited cards, you can fashion a team to compete in this competition for anywhere really between, you know, £100 and £300, depending on how far in advance you prepare, how premium you go with some of your better options, and how savvy you can be in the market. All those cards, you own them, you can use them obviously time and time again. If their form continues, maybe their price rises, you can sell them for a profit. But with those limited cards, it can be very nominally priced. You can win rares. Now, rare cards are very much more expensive than limiteds, and the ability to win rares with limiteds is phenomenal. So to build a team, to build a foundation of your club. And let's say you're starting Sorare today, you started within the last month, 3 months, you're starting tomorrow, you're starting after you hit the link in the description in this video. How do you build a foundation for a team that has a moving criteria? You know, as guys play better, they will come out of their average out of 100 score being under 40 across the last 15 games, and then they're no longer useful to fit that criteria. So because we're always going to have some moving parts, what I recommend to everyone and anyone who's starting out, who's going to be building in this competition, is to get the foundation pieces in first. Okay, now outside of Europe, and you know, kind of around Europe as well, there is fantastic cards in the limited market that are very nominally priced that can break over 60-70 points a game week. Because the scoring matrix is out of 100, and in these competitions there's no XP multipliers for how long you've had the card or anything like that. It's just raw fantasy points. Guys that can break over 70 are always going to be useful in this division. They might not be your L15 under 40 qualified card, you know, the crap guy that's holding the team back. But as long as too many of them don't break into the average score of being over 60 out of 100 across the last 15 games, then you can use as many of these guys as you care to. Now, in terms of goalkeepers, I have scoured the globe, and depending on what you're after, these are all the kind of best bang for buck options I can come across in terms of how much they're costing in pounds and pennies. So guys like Sorare can be under £60 quite easily. Guys like Rossi and Butes and a few other guys can be quite easily double that. If they've got European football, you know, they play midweeks as well as being a pretty good team. Volkan Babakan here, and we've got his deputy in this squad as well, Sesniger. So this is a strategy called a handcuff, where you get both goalkeepers that play. So Sesniger here has played some Europa League for Istanbul Başakşehir, whereas Babakan is like the normal number one. He'll probably play more European games as they progress in the tournament, but at the moment they're kind of sharing the role. Some people love getting both goalkeepers, so then it doesn't really matter who's playing. You know you've got a goalkeeper that's going to play. Kind of idea. It's called a handcuff. Augustin Rossi, obviously Boca Juniors, up-and-coming Argentinian goalkeeper at the age of 27. Highly links to Europe, didn't really pan out. Brad Struver has been one of the best goalkeepers in MLS over the last 2 seasons. Austin have been one of the real standout franchises since their inception over the last year or two. And the price he's at the moment, you know, under that £50 mark is criminal. Butes is about 3 times that, but again, he's playing now, he's in Europe. Kevin Trapp is pretty much the cheapest goalkeeper that I could find that plays midweeks as a designated number one and doesn't really have any real risk of rotation or being dropped or whatever. And Kevin Trapp, at the age of 32 for £136, is a very capable goalkeeper. And where his averages are at the moment, it's not unimaginable he could be L15 under 40, then now he's 41, and then if we can have the goalkeeper qualifies, that's always a sign we're going to have a pretty good week, because it's almost cheat code having a goalkeeper that qualifies for that. Brad Struver isn't too far off that himself. And then the boy here, Radlinger, is just super cheap. And again, he's a pretty okay goalkeeper. Plays all the time, scores okay enough, you know. So there's all shapes and sizes here depending on what your budget is. And the thing with goalkeepers is sometimes they are a tough pill to swallow. Somebody like Brad Struver for £40 and Sorare for £60. So that's £100 for 2 like decent, solid goalkeepers. Or you can take that same £100 and just go and get an Augustin Rossi, £112 or so he goes for. And equally, you could go and get Babakan for £80 and then his deputy for £30, £110. You've got guaranteed locked-in utility for weekends and midweeks across the Turkish Super League calendar, as well as whatever they do in Europe. And when it comes to defence, where I've got a lot of great options like across the world, really. I tried to stay quite European focused, but guys like Pau Torres, Remy Bensebaini, Adrien Truffet, Jeremy Frimpong are like up-and-coming elite defenders throughout Europe, you know, and these guys play midweeks, they play in premier competitions like the Bundesliga, Liga, and La Liga, and they're easily watched across the TV, you know. Walker Zimmerman, who's been one of the best centre-backs in MLS for his whole career, is a dirt cheap price now of £35, as is Yaimar Gomez Andrade, again one of the best performing defender cards in Champion America. He's £15. So the points per pound we can get out of Europe now is fantastic. But I still think there's a great room for a decent profile within Europe without having to sacrifice too much. We can also squeeze in Guilherme, who is £50 for unlimited, and this guy has been absolutely throttling it on the new Matrix. He seems to be a real cheat code card. And then Greg Taylor at Celtic has been phenomenal. He's also under £50. So out of this contingent of like 8 defenders, got lots of different ages, profiles, shapes and sizes, different calendar coverage, and none of them really, none of them exceeds £50. If not, they're all basically under £50 each. So you've got a real good pick of the litter there. Now across midfield, I think we're able to get fantastic pounds for point at the moment in the limited market on Sorare. Guys like Max Arnold, who take like Every set piece for Wolfsburg, £25. Danny Parejo runs the show at Villarreal, always go deep in Europe, always do well in the league, around £70 for him at the moment. Then when we look at other guys that are dotted around Europe, like Julian Brandt, £50 on great form at Borussia Dortmund. Guys like Callum McGregor, £60. Teddy Chuma, £65. Peter Bocage here, let's call it £70. Mikey Trezor about £110. And Laszlo Kleinheisler here at £28. These guys are playing Challenger Europe, so not the big 5 leagues, but they're all like mainstay midfielders for their team. And each of these teams are all relatively dominant domestically. So to have guys that will play every game, be in the winning side, not concede many goals, and you're then just playing law of averages on them playing an exceptional game, or guys like Brandt who are decisive capable, maybe that comes into it as well. Mikey Trezor, decisive capable as well. Jao Mario as well at £110 falls in that category. You know, so I think from Europe you can get a real tasty plethora of really nice profile players at really nominal prices. If we go outside of Europe and into Champion America, guys like Sebastian Lletget, who get goals and assists like all season, every season, £6 he is. Zella Ryan, MVP 2 seasons ago, won the cup, all the good stuff, one of the best players in the division, £75. Better than him, in my opinion, Federico Bernardeschi, who's just moved into Toronto from Juventus, £53 you can pick him up for. Lucho Acosta has been one of the real standouts of the season. He's £40 now. So a lot of these guys, is there anyone else from midfield that I've maybe missed, just the way this sorts this? Luis Alberto as well, takes all the stuff for Lazio, key player for them, dropped a 90 score out of 100 recently, £40 for him. I think between this midfield, you can cover all the bases in terms of guys that get decisive, take set pieces, play 90 minutes, playing dominant teams, all the rest of it. And again, you don't need to spend over 50 quid on any of them, really, if you don't need to or want to. Now, adding strikers in gets a bit expensive, okay? So I've, again, went all across the world and I'm trying to find the best bang for buck, the best points per pound that we can find to build a specialist base for, okay? Now, when it comes to forwards, they have to be decisive, ideally multi-decisive capable. That means they can get more than one goal, they can get a goal and an assist, they can get 2 assists, they can do something like that. Kyogo Furuhashi, the now, for around 140 quid, along with some other guys that we've got in the Challenger region, like Lawrence Shankland at £24, Kamal Soa, one of the real breakout stories of Bruges this year, under 50 quid, and I think that was it for Challenger. In Champion America, we're getting great value for guys that take set pieces, take penalties, and are always involved in assists and stuff. £130 for Jesus Ferreira, who is one of the best forwards in Champion America, and is probably going to be a big star in the future. Brenner, again, if you're in for following guys throughout their career, this is an up-and-coming Brazilian wonder kid guy. He's finally breaking through at Cincinnati and getting the goals and living up to his reputation. He's about 50 quid. And then Jordan Morris, who is like way too good for MLS, had a terrible ACL injury like a year ago. It stopped him moving to Swansea. He is 15 quid, which is fantastic points per pound value. No problem at all. Now, in Champion Euro, we can't really afford to mess around. The first couple of guys you see here, we've got Gerard Deulofeu, Iago Aspas, and Munayin. These guys are seasoned, time-tested guys. You know exactly what you're going to get from them. Deulofeu scores incredibly well. He's a very good dribbler and takes every set piece for Udinese. Copy and paste for Iago Aspas, but he just gets a few more goals to his game. Luis Araujo, again, big impressive Brazilian forward, recently moved from Lille to Atalanta. Under 90 quid is fantastic value for somebody like that. And Pione Sisto, kind of another big fish in a small pond, under £40 for the Midtjylland forward, former La Liga player. And again, his scores are pretty credible and there to be seen. And then the most expensive one here, if you want to buy goals, the best value at the moment is probably Ciro Immobile at 150 quid or so. Plays all the time, you know what you're getting from him, takes penalties, and he's absolutely, nailed on to be Ciro Immobile again this year. So we finished this playlist, we finished this watch list with 42 players. Now, the link to this full list is actually in the description of this video. So if you want to go and check out the list and go and have a closer look at some of these players on Sorare data, you just need to click on that link in the description of this video. And if you were really to push me, I think this would be the 5 I would pull out of that 42-man shortlist as my best points per pound 5 out of this team. Yeah, all 5 of them wouldn't qualify for specialists together, but those L15 under 40 cards, you need to find them as they come. Who's returning from injury? Who's doing well from the bench? Who's going to get back in the team? That kind of stuff. And as you can see, like over their historic scores, Struver has been the one letting this team down. It would have been grabbing prizes for the last few weeks. And it's a price-wise, it's been a pretty good time to pick up some of these guys at the moment. Let me know your thoughts on all the players and prices featured today. I'd love to get your feedback. If you're brand new, if you've been here a month, if you're starting tomorrow, whatever it is, drop in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear and have a chat to you about it. At any point in the video today, if you did laugh, learn, like something or whatever, I hope you do. Like, subscribe, share and retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble. About to pop on screen now is some stuff that YouTube thinks that you all might also like to enjoy watching. Stay out of trouble, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.